on our YouTube channel. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are gathered here today in Unama'ki, the land of the fog, a part of Mi'kma'ki, the unceded traditional territory of the Mi'kmaq people, since time immemorial. We honor and thank the Mi'kmaq for sharing their land and home with us. So we have an agenda in front of you that was circulated last week. Are there any errors or additions to the agenda that was circulated? And if not, I would entertain a motion to approve. Moved by Councillor Marchand. Can I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Sean Sampson. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries. Next item on the agenda you have, for folks following along at home, on pages 4 to 7 of your package, are the minutes from the meeting of February 10th, 2026. Are there any errors or omissions to the minutes as circulated? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Marchand.
It's not an error or omission, but the presentations, should we note that the second one was virtual? Because we've done that before, so I don't know. It doesn't matter either way, but it would make people.
Sure, we can add that as a note. And perhaps if it is agreeable to everyone, we can add that in future minutes. Okay. So we won't call that necessarily an error, but just as a note. So if there are no other points to make, I would entertain a motion to adopt the minutes for February 10th as circulated. Moved by Councillor Brent Sampson, seconded by Councillor Marchand. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. So this is typically where we would take a pause and entertain some presentations from people in our community. Typically those are groups or individuals that we sometimes hear from telling us about the important work that they do and the impact that that has on residents. But following our first round of budget deliberations, we decided that we would, at this time of year, seek out very specifically groups that perhaps we hadn't heard from in a while, or perhaps ever, to help inform our deliberations moving through the process of completing our budget process. So unfortunately, by the time we decided that, we couldn't arrange folks. It was too quick a turnaround time. So shorter meeting this evening, but I will warn folks that it would be a longer stretch the next couple of meetings. We already have some groups that we're looking forward to hearing from. So moving on to new business. The first is, there's 3 items, 5A, B, and C, that are related to request for grants. And I've already flagged this to Deputy Warden, that the first is the Discoos Civic Improvement Society grant, and my husband has no idea how he ended up being a director, but he is. So he must have gone to a meeting and didn't look away or made eye contact with somebody. But anyway, he is a director at this point. And so because of that, I'm going to declare a conflict on the first, but I have spoken to the councillor from District 1. So I will turn it over to the Deputy Warden.
Okay, thanks, Warden. So we will review the request from the Discoos Civic Improvement Society. I'll either open that for a motion or for some discussion first, depending on. Go ahead, Councillor Sampson.
Yeah, so as per my discussion with the warden, I would like to put a motion forward to fully fund this $500 funding request. By doing so, with $250 being allocated from District 1 and $250 from District 2.
I'll second that.
Councillor Marchand, is there any further discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. 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 Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. CAO, if you could. Yep, there we go. Welcome back.
So much for that soundproofing.
Turn my hearing aids up on high. Okay, so now we have 2 additional items. The first was for 500. So how did that work? 250 each?
250 each.
Okay, so we can all just do the math on our little sheets about how much money we have left in those funds. So my read of that is that taking out $500 from the total leaves us with a total of $8,388 in total, including our individual district. And so we have not enough money for the requests that are in front of us. So let's start in the order that they have come up. We have the Grand River Volunteer Fire Department has a request for Tier 2 funding in the amount of $7,500. I would throw it out for conversation. This is a fire department which received $1,000 from us last year, but as a one-time contribution.
10,000.
Oh, sorry, 10,000. Go ahead, Councillor.
Yeah, so just for a point of clarification, it's also the community center there, so it's used for both, but it happens to be this is part of the roof more towards where the trucks are stored on that side. So they've accessed some provincial things in the past based on it being used as a community center as well, because that is the gathering place in Grand River.
$7,500 for a project that totals the cost of $16,700, and they have the equity to finish off the project.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, please.
Thanks, Warden. I guess for this one and for the next one, I guess what I'm wondering is, has there been any indication of time sensitivity, the urgency level for either one of these projects? Because we hopefully in the new fiscal, would have some additional capacity there, so.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
At least for the first one, when they had spoken to me a while back, I had encouraged them to submit an application because thinking that, to be honest, we probably didn't have enough left in the budget. I wasn't realizing there is technically just enough to cover maybe, but I told them that I assumed it would probably be bumped till after budget time anyway. But if you have all your ducks in a row now, it makes sense to submit the application. So I don't believe there is a big worry on time at this moment. They were looking to complete the project this building season for sure. Yeah.
And I am sort of kind of jumping back and forth. I think we have, I forget what date, how far farther ahead we are than last year. I think the meeting that we held, the budget deliberation meeting we held, 2 weeks ago now? We held that in May, right? So we're certainly farther ahead. I know that there is one other, I think just one other, that would come in before the end of March. That's the hall in Rocky Bay. It wasn't ready for this meeting, but I think there's these 3 projects that could access the rest of this money, and then that would be what we would, have starting off the blocks from the last fiscal going to the next fiscal. So, I mean, this is not a budget CAO that rolls over, right? This
No.
is right.
No.
So I think our goal here is to spend all this money, and so that it doesn't, we're at least dealing with one of these projects at the beginning. Go ahead, Councillor Mershon.
Thank you, Warden. This grant here, they do speak that the roof is above the fire hall portion of it, and they do have money, I guess, to me to pay it in what they have sitting in cash. And so the other, both of them are urgent for sure, but the other one seems to be, they don't have as much money, and there's quite a bit of work to do there as well. So unless we take some from all of our funds to try to get the other one done, and if Councillor Sampson is saying that they can wait a bit for the roof till the next season, maybe.
Next season?
No.
Till the April, May, June
Till next fiscal.
Fiscal year,
Fiscal.
right, building season, yeah.
fiscal.
The understanding was when they weren't in a panic when they submitted this. So if council would prefer to defer it till after budget, I think that would be understandable. I don't want to get into any discussions on the next one though, because I've seen stuff on there, I'll declare a conflict on it. So just stating only with this one, I don't see it, from conversations I've had, I don't see it being a problem if council
If
wants
we
to
defer
defer
it
it.
to next fiscal.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion, sorry, pushing the button. I would entertain a motion to defer this one to the 26-27 budget to kind of move us along. Moved by Councillor Brent Sampson, seconded by Councillor Marchand. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. So Councillor Brent Sampson, we're going to move on now to the third one, which is the St. Peter's Community Club.
Yeah, so after reading the package, I've seen bids that I guess I would be associated with in the third grant application, so I'll declare a conflict at this time.
Thank you. So the record will reflect that Councillor Brent Sampson is leaving. The record will reflect that Brent Sampson, Councillor for District 5, has left. So this one certainly speaks about an urgency, because if they don't do this, they have to actually move museum pieces out of the museum.
Yeah.
My concern on this front, and I did ask for staff to investigate, the other, like, they can't pull this off unless they also get provincial funding.
Yeah.
But we did get confirmation, and that the grant that they're applying to closed applications as of February 14th. But for your information, I think you might have gotten that email.
Yeah.
The staff have confirmed that they have already submitted their application, but they don't know at this point if they've been successful.
Is the PCAP funding?
PCAP, no.
No.
Oh, is the PCAP the other one?
No, it's that's the village, that's later. This one is the community something.
Yeah. Through
And I
CCTH.
checked the list of, cuts, and it doesn't appear that the grant that they've applied to is one of the grants cut. My only concern is, if we allocate money today to this group and they don't get their provincial funding, we will have not given to, for example, Rocky Bay, who's going to come here at the end of the month. Go ahead.
Oh, the light's still on. I'm wondering, I guess I'm wondering if we have a sense of how many
I wonder, good question. I'm wondering, now that we've dealt with Discouse, we've dealt with Grand River, in that we're already decided that's going to the next budget season. I wonder if we could table this until our council meeting, which would give 2 more weeks for us to be able to reach out and see if they found out yay or nay. If they find out yay, that they're getting the 42,000, I think it is, from the provincial government.
Oh, wait, no, is that not confirmed?
No,
No,
I thought you said it was
no, it's not.
it's confirmed that they submitted their application,
by February.
Yeah.
but not whether they've received money. So this would give us 2 weeks, because if they find out no, and at this meeting we say, yes, you can have the money, the project, according to their application, is not happening.
You can't go forward, yeah.
Right. So is there, perhaps if we were to defer, look, this money's not going to them until we say it at council anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is a committee of the whole. We can't, the decision isn't made here. If we were to, and to be clear, if this group either didn't get a rejection, their application in first, like, I absolutely appreciate that. And I'd be comfortable if they either got the money or had at least not, as of March 26th, not been denied. Go ahead, Councillor Marchand.
I'm just wondering about maybe we can find out as well, in the income statement, they have an extra 7280 at the end of it. Just wondering what that is.
Yeah, I saw that and I thought I had figured that out, and I forget where I thought I had figured that out from. Where did I see 7280? Yeah.
72.80 and 30 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
was just
I
wondering
forget
what it was.
where-
where it
Yeah, I
came
know,
from.
and
'Cause they
I
don't
went
have
through
it-
everything, and I thought I had figured it out.
They don't have it up above.
Was that their carryover from the year before? Was that their starting balance?
Well, they would have had it up above.
I thought I saw something where that made sense.
19,000.
Well, I'm looking at their retained earnings. Right? Showing 77,537 on the balance sheet. I guess what I'm wondering is, can they go ahead without the provincial grant? Do you know what I mean? Do they have the financial capacity, or would they intend
But that's only
to do some
22,000
fundraising
cash,
towards, pardon me?
22,000 cash, though.
Right, yeah.
What I, and maybe I misread, but what I read here was, where is that? If we are not successful in securing
Right.
funds for the project, there is a good chance we have to transfer a large number of artifacts to other museums that have sufficient climate control. Which to me is not that they can't do it eventually.
Right.
Right?
That's what
It's
I'm-
just that if they don't get
Yeah.
this ASAP.
Yeah.
And again, if there was even no denial, I'd be fine. Like, I'm fine committing money while they wait, but if we gave ourselves 2 more weeks, we could at least find out
And get the other grant.
if they got the other grant. And also, given what's happening with the budget, there have been lots of times where a budget is called this in the slash document, and people are only realizing later it came out. I looked for the name of the,
Yes.
in the slash and cut
So did
budget.
I, yeah.
So I'm not, I wouldn't say with 1,000% certainty that budget
the
even
program
exists.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is if we buy ourselves 2 more weeks, which nothing happens until council anyway.
No.
And if they are still a living possibility, a remote possibility that they can get the 42,000 from the province, if they haven't been denied, then I'm perfectly fine to move ahead with this. They can have all my money. Like but if not, there is another one that we could give to.
Yeah.
Is that agreeable?
Yep. So I'll make a motion to table this application to our regular council meeting at the end of March, but with.
And I think we can also direct staff, and it'll be seconded by Councillor Marchand, and we can direct staff, or if you as the councillor want to follow up with them to see, you know, if by Monday, if they've gotten any word.
Sure.
And what the 7280 is.
And what the 7280 is.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Okay, so all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so we'll let Councillor Brent back in the room. For those folks who like to follow along at home, in your package, there are 2 warden's issues, warden's agenda items. First is the February 2026 report, and the second, so if anybody has any questions about the warden's report on page 44, happy to entertain that. Pages 45 to 50. 45 includes a write-up of the request that was made to me from a family member in the community, or sorry, somebody in the community who has a family member with epilepsy. When I referred to and they're actually specifically looking for the flag to be flown during the week of Epilepsy Week.
Okay.
I'll make that.
Moved by Councillor Marchand. Can I
I'll
second
second it.
Seconded by
Council member,
Deputy
Deputy
Warden
Warden, whatever,
Lumbercat.
I don't even know my own name anymore. It's been a long day.
any discussion
Okay.
on that? Councillor Marchand?
I guess the motion is just that we're going to fly to the week of the 26th.
Yeah.
No question.
And the only thing I will say is that our flag policy says that it has to be an organization that makes the request. And the issue is that there is no local chapter of the Epilepsy Association. And so she was busy trying to get a provincial. So, Councillor Brent Sampson, do you have your?
It may be one that we want to just refer to bylaw and policy. It could be a quick thing that we want to just do this on a regular basis, so it doesn't have to come back to council in the future. That could be one we list, and then we don't need a request going forward. So, yeah, I'd like to make a second motion. No, okay, we'll wait till, yeah.
None? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Councillor Brent Sampson?
So I'd like to make a motion that we refer this to bylaw and policy, that we can look at making an amendment to the flag policy going forward.
Great. So I have a seconder on that, seconded by Councillor Sean Sampson. So the Sampsons are in the house. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. And so on pages 51 to 57 is the Administrator Operations Report. CAO, if you have anything you want to highlight, or we would entertain questions, I'm sure.
Well, I wouldn't want to leave anyone out. As you can see, there's lots of activity right across the spectrum. So lots of projects on the go and gearing up for others for the spring and build season. So, but yeah, I'm open to answer any questions that I can.
It's a lot.
Okay.
Okay, hearing nothing. It's now, we're now at item 8. About February's Volunteer of the Month, Nikki Carter. Nikki Carter is a dedicated volunteer with St. Louis Parish, where she has community, supporting the religious education program, leading First Communion preparations, and coordinating the children's Christmas pageant for many years. Beyond the parish, Nikki has organized major community events, including the New Year's Dance, craft markets, and Canada Day celebrations at the Parish Hall. Her dedication, warmth, and willingness to step forward inspire others to get involved, strengthening the community bonds and enhancing the vibrancy of Loosedale. Nikki's ongoing contributions continue to make a meaningful difference in the lives of those around her. Please join us in recognizing Nikki for her hard work, dedication, and commitment to her community. We thank you for all you do for Richmond County. And so Nikki is a proud resident of Loosedale and therefore a resident of District 3, and so happy to turn it over to Councillor Marchand, who has some things to add.
Thank you, Warden. And I guess you pretty much said it all there. And Nikki does this out of the goodness of her heart, and she does it for the betterment of the community. Anything she's doing, I guess, for people, she's doing it, to better them. She's not doing anything for herself, and she's very passionate. I sit on committees with her about any of the chores or tasks she's taken on, and she's passionate about it, and kind of has a kiddie way about it that she just enjoys so much, everything she does. So thank you to Nikki, and hopefully she continues to do what she does. Thank you, Warden.
Thank you. Yes, best New Year's dances around, for sure. Happy to hear if anyone has anything else to add about goings on in their community. Go ahead, Deputy Warden.
Thank you, Warden. So just a couple things. I think since our last committee of the whole, which seems like a very long time ago, I think since then, St. Peter's Volunteer Fire Department has had their AGM. So just want to congratulate the incoming Fire Chief, Marvin McLean, on his appointment to that seat. And Blaise Sampson continues in the role of president. So congrats to those folks and to all of the folks who are volunteering and holding officer positions there. It's a great group. The other community acknowledgement I have today is that today marked the beginning of the 3-day CEPI planning workshop. And I was really pleased to co-host day 1 with Dr. Mary Beth Doucette today at Member 2 Trade and Convention Center. Congratulations to all of the CEPI participants because we had over 100 people in the room. And it was a really great turnout, and looking forward to the next 2 days. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Anyone else? No? Okay. Thank you very much. And again, thank you to all the volunteers, Nikki included, and the folks from our organizations like CEPI and the fire departments for all they do. We have correspondence next on the agenda, and the first item is the only that is, absolutely requires action on our part. And this is a letter from Megan Hayter, who is the clerk with the Village of St. Peter's, and it is a request for the Village of St. Peter's to access the CCBF fund that is administered through policy. So for folks who following along, that's pages 59 to 60 of your package. Do you want to take us through some of this?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to council and those at home. This was received and then taken by our Director of Finance and sent off to the province for eligibility. And during that process as well, the folks at the province were explaining how we have to do our pre-construction report every year as part of our reporting and the CCBF funds. That gets done in May. So she was saying that the timing should be more aligned to the pre-construction if we're going to be using CCBF funds for this. Because any changes outside of that means new reporting to the province as well. So those changes have to be recorded through the province. So again, we're still at the eligibility phase with this one, but we should hear back shortly. It normally only takes a couple weeks, but things at the province right now. And as you see in this one, they were looking for PCAP to cover some of it, which is not going to happen. And on top of that, we've asked for an updated total project. Instead of just deducting out of this, we just asked for an updated one with the 2-3 horsepower ones removed to give us a final one, so we have something clean to give to the province when the time comes. So that's where we're at. There's
So no action to be taken?
at this time, no, other than we've already put it in for eligibility, and that's our first step when it comes to CCBF funds anyway. We need to have that before we can move anywhere.
Oh, mine is on there, but.
No, that's okay.
I wanted to ask a question.
Well,
There you
my light's still on if I wouldn't
Yeah, no,
mind.
I think we've.
I'll
All of our lights
elaborate
are
on
on.
that eligibility as
Oh, go
well.
ahead.
So eligibility for us, the first pre-screen was with Halifax. So the province governs this money for the feds. So, but there is another eligibility that the province has to go through with the feds when they do their reporting. And this is where our Director of Finance is working on a memo to come before council for your consideration. Is that we adjust our CCBF funding applications, especially for outside groups, because if the feds turn it down, right now that's going to come back on us to make true on this grant application. It could. We do say in our policy that it has to be eligible, and eligibility for most people was thinking Halifax just had to sign off on it. Well, Halifax doesn't. If the feds come back at us, and we've had 2 of our own projects come back on us because the province said yes, but the feds are saying no. So we got to clean this up because we can't have the municipality being responsible to make these applications whole.
Are they saying no with needed information, or are they saying
Additional
no
information, wrong stream.
Okay,
So-
but it's not a definitive no, it's
No.
just no now.
That's right, but we are getting
could
pushback
change.
from the feds now.
So you're wanting them to remove the 2 pumps?
Asking them to give us a clean one with the 2-3 horsepower pumps, so we have something clean to give to Halifax. We don't want to make somebody somewhere further down the line read more than they need to.
Well, and also it does talk about
Yeah.
if the project requires modification. And so I think a different application that takes
They
that
have
out.
the number.
Yeah.
My next question is, what percentage do we set aside out of that for them annually? Was there a number?
10%,
10%.
according to policy.
So that's 50.
Annual.
This year it's 50-some
Cumulative.
thousand, 50-some
Yeah.
thousand, and it goes into a reserve.
Okay, so they're just asking for that amount of money.
Yes.
They're asking access to that money to cover this off.
But I think something like this should be eligible, but I don't know.
Oh, exactly.
Sewer, I thought sewer was definitely one of them.
I do.
Go ahead, Deputy Warden.
I do think the clean copy is a good idea, because I know we've been getting pushback. We experienced that with the splash pad project. So we don't want to be in that situation. So if, I guess at this stage, we've submitted for eligibility, but we've submitted the old one.
Yeah.
So we probably have to resubmit the new one when it
And
comes in
we told
anyway.
them there'll be a new one coming. So
Okay.
the folks in Halifax know there's a new one coming
Okay.
with it cleaned up.
Okay,
Because we
great.
were at that point aware that PCAP was gone.
Right, okay, fantastic. So really no action to be taken, we just need to wait on the updated copy and, okay, great.
Okay, so that moves us on to the next set of correspondence, many of them. Item 1, just for clarification, item 1 is a letter that I wrote actually back in February, so that's on page 61. That was already in your package previously, but it's linked to item number 5. So we'll just skip number 1 for now, and I'll come back to that. So there's the letter that I wrote regarding minimum lot standards at Council's request, letter that we wrote to the Premier regarding the closure of visitor information centers, and the letter that we wrote in support of County of Antigonish correspondence. So item 5 is the reply we got to the letter that I sent. So the letter I sent is re-offered up to you, even though it was included in the last committee of the whole package. That's item 1, and it came with the reply, which is on item V of your agenda. So then there is the letter from Deputy Minister Paul LaFlesche, good news story there. Email from Heather Niche regarding road name change. Scott Armstrong, Minister of Justice and Attorney General, regarding RCMP pay liability and their position on cost recovery. Deputy Minister of Growth and Development, and an email from Tyler Mathis. And item 11 is an email from Karen McLean, Executive Director of the Rock Society, regarding funding cuts to disability organizations, but those were reversed today. So there's a lot in here. Happy to entertain any discussion on any of these correspondence. Go ahead, Deputy Warden.
There we go. I would add that part of the restoration of program funding, whatever, also impacted 2 programs that Straight Area Transit uses, PTAP and CTAP, the Community Transportation Access Program, which is really good news. Not just for Straight Area Transit, but also for us, because there would have been a shortfall there. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Yeah, and actually, I received an email that was past the date of adding to the agenda here, and had considered, from Transit, and had considered bringing it as an added agenda item, but it's moot now because they let us know that has been reversed. Are there any other comments, concerns, queries about the many correspondence included in this package? Some you have seen as we went through the last 2 weeks. Okay, so hearing no questions or queries about our correspondence, we have one item under unfinished business. So on pages 80 to 82 of your package is the staff report that has been provided from the Director of Public Works. So in May, where we had a motion of council, which is included there, and I'll just read it for folks who maybe aren't following the package, but moved by Councillor Sean Sampson, seconded by Councillor Amanda Mumbercat, that council directs staff to explore possible revisions to current utility regulations around the hookups of secondary units on the same property, including lots that can be subdivided and those that cannot be subdivided. And so at the end of that package, after much deliberation and explanation, he has suggested possible course of action. So happy to entertain discussion or motion on these. So to summarize, the recommendation is that if properties are subdividable, that given discussions with solicitor and planning staff, that they could not identify a means of ensuring some challenges could be overcome, and so it is recommended to avoid shared service arrangements for ADUs on properties that are subdividable. But when they are not, so a property is not subdividable, there are options for us should we choose to pursue that. Go ahead, Deputy Warden.
Thank you, Warden. I know that one of the recommendations is to submit a request to the NSRAB. I mean, we know that to be I don't know if I would say onerous, but certainly lengthy process. It certainly can be that way. So, you know, my mind immediately goes to the amendment of our own bylaw, number 29, to allow an ADU to be served from the same sewer service connection as the primary on lots that are not subdividable. But I know there's always unintended consequences to some of these types of things, right? So I just wanted to say, though, that's where my head is at, to try to avoid the REB process just because of its lengthiness.
So can I ask a clarification question of the CAO? Is this an either-or, or is
No,
this
both-
two things?
They both need to happen.
They both need to happen.
Because one needs to happen to change our regulations.
Okay, I understood it as an either-or.
No,
Well, one is our own, one is the.
regulations.
So
But it's not either-or, the two
the
things
two
would
must
to
have,
happen.
okay, I misunderstood that,
Yeah.
okay.
Go ahead, Councillor Merchant, or
I guess the only concern I have, whether they're subdividable or not, I wouldn't put that restriction. If it's on one property, we had the issue before, you had to prove you could subdivide it, and now you're saying if it's not subdividable, well, there's situations where we had this tiny home. If that property was subdividable, we're forcing them, we're not allowing them to connect. And the whole idea was to get people to be able to connect. So I'd remove that provision of the subdividability or not. Just allow it on the one property if people want to do it with one meter charge.
Sorry, I cut you off there. Right, and so. To go back, the province had a program, the Backyard Suite program. We had a resident in Richmond County who was able to access good amount of dollars, 50% up to $40,000, on a property that was subdividable. So if they wanted to, it could have been subdivided. And we asked for a review of whether or not that's something, but currently not permitted, and we asked whether or not that could be permitted. To be fair, because this is something that was moving ahead and they wanted to move ahead, and so they went ahead anyway. So this is about whether or not a place, a lot that is subdividable. So there's two issues: if you can divide it and have your two houses on two separate lots, or if you couldn't divide it anyway and they're stuck as two. And so we have while I understand what you're saying, Councillor Marchand, the fact is we have a recommendation from staff that we not allow that, and it is based on conversations with our solicitor and EDPC. So the idea that we would just say, well, we'll do it anyway, it flies in the face of our staff person and legal and our planning staff.
That's not a concern of mine. It does. I mean, you're not being disrespectful or disparaging to them
Sure. Yep.
by me saying, I'd like to open up all options. Because we're going to have situations, as Deputy Warden says, where you're doing this, and you're going to have the people that are saying, well, look, you're cutting us out. So the idea of this affordability, we speak of it all the time. If we can save $2,400 for somebody to connect, let's do it.
Yep.
They have the lot and they have the ability to do it. Right now, you have to prove that you can subdivide. So there's a cost to even doing that to be able to connect. If you can't subdivide, you can't do it. So you're still using money regardless to save the connection. So if I'm going to spend $2,000 on a surveyor to prove I can subdivide, I'm going to spend the $2,000 with the connection anyway.
Right.
You know.
And I will say that my first husband and I lived on a property where we shared water and sewer with my in-laws. And when the property was sold, it was sold as one property with two houses on it, with one septic. It was advertised as such, and it was advertised as a guest home and so on. There's a house in Martinique that has a relative from the States came and added to the water and the sewer system from the main home. And now as those people aged and sold, it was one property sold with two, and it was advertised as rental property and a house that you could live in. So people made decisions about how they wanted to hook up with water and sewer, and could they have made more money by selling two separate houses? They could have, but that's not what they chose to do. So I'm all for, giving people the right to choose their destiny. So I'm all for that. But it's the will of council to decide how to proceed.
If I may, Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
And again, director's intent in writing it was just that we could not write into this a way to mitigate problems occurring in the future. You can't do that. You can't write it. There was nothing clean we could do. The cleanest thing is if it's subdividable, subdivide it. But if we're trying to avoid that and allow these connections, then you're good to go, right?
Go ahead, Councillor Brent Sampson.
If it's subdividable, though,
Right.
if I'm just understanding correctly, we're not forcing them to subdivide right now.
We
We're just
are
saying
not.
you would, you'd have to have a separate connection so that if you.
That's right.
And I can understand, especially, the idea of tiny homes or adding little, some, say, rental units, small rental units and that. And, but, yeah, I get where unintended headaches in the future could be
They could.
an issue too. It's, sure. Yep, okay. No, I just said I can see both sides of the coin here for sure. I do understand that. Yeah.
In the future are headaches of the people who are making the decision. It's not our headache. That you're an adult, if you want to hook two homes up to the same septic system, FYI, when you sell it, you are selling with limited resale value because it is one lot. That's what my in-laws that's how that came to be. In Pullman, it's the same situation, but that was the choice they made, and they're allowed to make that choice. It's right, yeah. Councillor Mershon?
Well, unless there's other discussion, I'm prepared to make a motion that we proceed ahead, whether they're subdividable or not.
Well, why don't we make the motion, see if there's a seconder, and then that would be an
Yeah.
opportunity for additional
Yeah, before you do. The only other thing I'm thinking when having these discussions about, if you had a situation where, House A is the one that's getting the bill, also hooked up to House B, and then House A is not paying the bill. House B gets cut off. I know you could say, well, that's between them, but guess what? They're probably calling their counselor. And they're gonna be wild at municipality when their water gets cut off, Well, you can shake your head all you want, maybe not in your situation, but we're deciding this for more than just you, so.
Can I talk?
Sure.
So you're potentially referring to what's happening now. Now, if you have one connection going into a property, the idea of that connection going in the first house, and us putting 2 meters there, charging a service fee and a usage fee for this house, and doing the same for the back house, that's wrong. Totally wrong. So if you're gonna do it that way, you're gonna have the issue you have. You have 1 meter going into the main house. They wanna run it to whatever, 2 little tiny buildings, that's fine. Needs to go through the meter, county verifies that. They get 1 usage fee bill, or 1 meter charge, 1 flat rate, plus the usage of that. Now, how they want to divide it between the 3 homes, that's between them. So we get 1 payment from 1 person, whoever it is, whoever the account's put in. When we don't get that money, if I'm the first house and I didn't pay and the 2 back ones get cut off, they don't come to us. They're paying the person in the front. But if you're going to charge me in the back house and I pay my bill and the person in the front house doesn't pay and the county shuts it off at the road, that's the county's problem. You don't do it that way. You can't. Put a separate account for each line. That's the thing. But I think what happened, and if you're referring to problems that potentially happen, it's because of how they set it up. And that's inherently wrong. 1 line, 1 account, 1 flat fee, 1 meter. And how these people want to divide it, that's up to them. There'll be no issue. When the person in the front doesn't pay, 2 back houses or 1 back house or whatever, don't come to us. John in the front didn't pay. We're sorry. He or she has they're responsible for that account. You've connected to them. You deal with them. But how the county did it, if they had the 2 separate, yeah, they only had 1 connection to shut off, I understand there's an issue there. So you don't do it that way if you have 1 line. It's 1 account, 1 charge, and that's it. 1 person's responsible to pay. Done.
Just to clarify, so would you be talking still 1 line going to House A, then a line coming out of that to House B, but separate meter, or a
That's how they're-
separate line from
yeah.
the road?
That's the idea of this, is to connect from that 1 house. If you're going back to the road, it's a
No,
new
but I'm
account.
saying, I'm assuming the thought was with doing, if
A
they're
single meter.
if they're subdividable, is it still one line coming off the main road?
If they're connecting to the one house, but if they're connecting
No.
back to the road, yes, they got another line. And you have the option of doing that. You can put 3 or 4 lines in your one property. That's up to you if you want to do that. But the idea of this
Yeah,
was
'cause I
affordability.
guess that same situation could arise if it is subdividable. You would still be running the water through the first house to the second, right?
That's right. The idea of this is connecting to the first
So that,
house.
yeah, that wouldn't eliminate that issue. Unfortunately, I guess.
Wouldn't
yeah,
eliminate
you're right.
what issue?
It wouldn't eliminate the issue. You wouldn't have 2 separate lines going to the 2 houses, even if,
Oh, no, you wouldn't put two lines going to the one house. If you were gonna subdivide or not subdivide, have 2 houses on one property, they have the option of putting 2 lines if they want. And then they have their own accounts. But it needs to be 1 line, 1 account. And I think what happened here before is 2 accounts got set up in a separate meter. So they went into the one house, split the 2 meters and charged, and one person didn't pay. Unless you go into the house and shut that person off, but we have the ability to go to the road, curb stop, that's ours. So it just wasn't set up right, but I think if you're doing the 1 line and there's 2 houses or 3 connected, there's only 1 charge, 1 person.
So what I'm here, did you have something? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Warden. So when I was reading this memo, it's, the wording of it is that if there was an avenue to ensure that a lot with shared servicing would not be permitted to be subdivided unless and until the services were separated. Right? I keep going back to that wording. I guess what I'm wondering is, the solicitors weighed in on this, planning staff have weighed in on it. What's the lens here? Is the lens that we don't want people to disadvantage themselves, and therefore that's why they're making this recommendation? Or is the lens that there could be a legal problem for the municipality on this? Do you know what I mean? Like, the lens to me makes a big difference, because it feels a little bit, it's got some big dad energy going on here. Right? Like, we're trying to make decisions on behalf of, people who, as you pointed out, Warden, would have a choice.
Can I say something?
Let them go ahead.
Go ahead.
And
I think there's more of a legal issue at how it's happening now. If I'm the back house and I'm paying my bill,
Yeah, for sure.
and you shut the line off at the road because Joe in front of me is not paying, I got more of a challenge there. Or I got more of a case there to say, hey, I paid my bill, I've never been back, you've shut me off, get me back on. So we'd
Yeah.
have an issue. Now, remember, whether the property's subdividable or not, people have the option of putting the second service.
Yeah.
If the property is just a little past the width of the house or whatever, if you can get around the house with it, you can service the backyard. It's up to you. If the grade is fine, or if you want to put a pumping chamber for your sewer, it's fine. But it saves us connections at the road, tearing the roads apart if the lines are at the road, and allows people to get their water and sewer, saving some money. That's the idea. That's the idea that I put this forward. Allow people to do that if they want. And as the warden says and been stated, if they want to sell that property later on,
Right.
buyer beware. If I'm buying a
Just
property.
report it as what it is. yeah.
Right.
Exactly. You buy the house,
Yep.
you know there's 2 there. If you later can subdivide and get access to the back house, they're gonna have to get a connection eventually.
Yeah, and that's why I'm asking about the lands counselor, is
Yeah.
because I'm trying to figure out, are we trying to protect the 1 or 2 times that this might arise as a problem for individuals who decide to sell a property at the expense of all the times this could be hugely beneficial?
Right.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
And
Oops,
that's
I
what
forgot to.
the
Yeah.
director was trying to say, is there was no way to write those 1 or 2 times out safely, other than services didn't go in
Yeah.
until they were separated,
Right,
right? And that's what he's saying, if you wanna go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, there are opportunities, and there was no way for us to stop this
yeah,
with 1 meter going to multiple dwellings.
What do you mean there was what? Opportunities of what?
The house B being shut off when house A doesn't pay their bill.
Exactly, but House B has to know that House A is responsible to pay.
They do, but what's their
Yeah.
recourse? Because we're shutting off the curb stop.
Exactly. Now,
right?
house A and B, hopefully they're getting along. If they're
Yeah,
not,
but you can't guarantee that, and we can't write that into a document that people are always gonna be nice to one
Okay,
another.
There
so
may be
then-
house
okay,
A
so if
and
it's not
B.
subdividable,
Right.
and we are in the same situation, and house A doesn't pay and house B gets shut off, what is their option?
Keeping in mind,
Yeah.
okay, folks, keeping in mind, you may be talking about house A and B, but there is only one landowner, right? This is about a piece
Yeah,
of
that's a
land.
that's a very good point.
There is a landowner
Yeah.
who gets to decide who lives on his or her land.
Yes. That's
right.
So if you don't like how you're getting along with the person who lives in house B, make them leave.
Exactly.
It's your land.
Yeah.
Right? So this is about a single PID or a single
That's right.
lot. And one person is the owner of that lot and can put two homes if they like. And
Yeah.
if that is not amenable to the person in house B, off you go.
That's right. Yeah, I would say, there'd be no issue
Okay.
to me with it, that would ever
And,
come
and
back.
in my case, you know,
Yeah.
when the in-laws sold it, if the family who bought it wanted to put in a separate septic system and then subdivide, they knew what they were buying when they bought it. They bought it the way the family had decided to live,
Yeah.
and off they went.
It's a good point. It is one owner, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Did you have something else? Did I catch a?
Yeah, like I guess I was. Yeah, I was thinking there to your reference about, be one landowner, but it still could be a situation where the renter in back is paying their bills to we've seen it with, people in trailer courts or something. They're paying all their bills and then the water gets cut off because the landlord didn't pay, right? And it's unfair to the renters, but there's nothing the municipality can do about that. They have to follow that rule.
Okay, so we've. And I think we've captured the challenges and the opportunities. So if somebody would like to make a motion, we can frame it and then guide our discussions through the motion. Councillor Marchand?
I'll make a motion that we authorize staff to submit the request to the Nova Scotia RAB to amend the Richmond Water Utility Schedule of rules and regulations to allow the ADU to serve for the same water sewer service connection as the primary dwelling, so they can connect the water, because it's mainly the water here, to the RAB. They can connect the water to the primary dwelling on lots that are either non-subdividable or subdividable. We could just remove that section, period, and just have it on any dwelling lot.
Okay. Shelley, have you got that captured?
So, should I read that again? I mean, it's pretty much what's there, just remove the non-subdividable or out of it.
Okay, so everybody clear on what that motion is? It's essentially the recommendation, but taking out, go ahead.
Do you want to do the further for the
You
second
want
part?
to do both together? Okay, the other one is for sewer, so we don't have to go to Nova Scotia RAB, that would be us.
Why don't we do that as two separate motions, just because it makes letter writing easier?
Yes.
So we have a motion on the floor. Can we have a seconder?
I'll second.
Seconded by Deputy Warden Mumberket. Any discussion on that? Go ahead, Councillor Brent Sampson.
Yeah, I guess I'd feel comfortable, I think, submitting it to the Regulatory and Appeals Board, only because I think, I think they would have seen this before, whether or not, but I think I would like maybe a bit of information as to whether it's happening in other municipalities. And if they regret it or not, like is it functioning in several other municipalities that they say, yeah, there's some hiccups, but for the most part, no, this works, or yeah, we did that, it was a big mistake.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor, which is to submit to NSRAB. So if you would like to make an amendment, so a couple of things. You can either wait to see how this vote goes, and then if you want to make a new motion that we simultaneously ask staff to ask around, or if you'd like to make an amendment to the motion which says, before we do authorize staff, would like to get some information. So, but there is a motion on the floor that does not involve staff doing work as a precursor or a requirement.
Yeah, I would like to make an amendment to ask for, I guess, a jurisdictional scan to see what's going on in other municipalities before we would proceed with this, if there's a seconder.
Okay, so because what that means is do the scan and then send it to NESRAB, even if we don't like what we heard. So, so, you know what I mean? Like the motion, yeah.
Yeah. So my other train of thought on this maybe, and I can rescind that motion, I'll rescind that if you prefer. If we submit this to the Regulatory and Appeals Board and it comes back that, yes, this is, this is doable, we would still then have to amend our bylaws anyway, right? So if we decide in that period of time, I mean, I don't want to waste their time either, but I'd be happy to submit this to the Regulatory and Appeals Board. However, I think before we would amend our own bylaws, I think I'd like to see that information from other counties. So that being said, if we submit it to the Regulatory and Appeal Board and it's denied, don't worry about wasting staff's time searching out what's going on elsewhere.
Okay.
So I'll rescind that amendment.
So the motion, understanding, they may say, hold your horses, no can do. So, any other discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. So then the second motion that would be required would be to amend the sewer bylaw. Okay, go ahead, Councillor Marchand.
Thank you, Warden. I'll make a motion, I guess, that should we send it to bylaw and policy, or should we make this motion as it is? Because the motion, I'll read the motion. Amend sewer bylaw 29, capital costs of sewer construction bylaw to allow an ADU to be served from the same sewer service connection as the primary dwelling on the lot. But we need to move that to bylaw and policy, but I'll make that motion.
So I think this is a committee of the whole meeting, which will show up at council as council recommends that we amend the policy or bylaw.
Without it going to bylaw.
But it actually
policy.
has to go to bylaw and policy.
Yeah,
So
I'll make the motion that
to
we send it.
reword,
That's what it says. It says subject to approval of the NSREB to refer this bylaw to the bylaw and policy committee for the purpose of amending.
right,
Okay, but that's the water one.
yeah, that's the, you have that.
This is sewer?
That's the
Yeah,
rules.
but they don't have that.
The sewer doesn't have to go to the NSRAB. That's our own. That's not regulated by them.
No.
So what I'll do is I'll rescind that, and I'll make a motion that to the bylaw and policy for discussion.
Okay.
Is that one better for everybody?
Capture,
Yes.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, so does that capture the jurisdictional scan? Would we?
We'll bring that up in bylaw policy, I would imagine.
Okay, well, this one's different, though.
Yeah, hang on.
See, because we had a short meeting,
Yeah.
the mics are slower. No, and so it's been moved in second, so just for discussion's sake, I don't think I'd support this one, only because I think I'd want to wait to see what happens at the Regulatory and Appeals Board prior to making any kind of movement on this anyway. So I just wouldn't be comfortable with going forward with this one, because I feel like if we're gonna do one, we're likely gonna do both. So,
But let's not
Yeah.
delay. Let's not delay it.
but based on the fact that we don't know the answer on the first one, I just wouldn't be comfortable with moving forward with this one where we don't need their approval on this.
Right,
No, I just, but we delay it, that was the thing.
I guess my thinking is that this would get us on the list, and that as we heard from NESRAB, we would actually be able to, make it an agenda item.
Right.
It just lands on the list of many policies that we're,
That's right, we don't have to even discuss it when it comes up there. Defer to the next bylaw policy.
we just don't, we don't even put it on the,
Yeah.
it'd be on the working list. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just waiting for, yeah, and okay, so I guess really we're not, the motion is just to refer it. It has nothing
That's
to do
all.
with subdividable or not subdividable at this moment in time.
No,
Okay, I'm
no,
fine with that.
I'm just
then.
deferring it, and then
Yeah.
the warden and the deputy will decide when to put it on the next
Okay.
bylaw
Yeah, I'm
policy
good with that.
meeting. We'll approve it at the end of the month, and then it'll be ready to go.
Okay,
So I'll call the question.
yeah, that doesn't, there's no such thing as calling a question. Learn that in
No
school.
more?
Nope, no more. Learn
No
that
more,
in,
it's gone.
learn that in the, one of the many courses we took, or I did. Okay, so any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, great. So review of checks issued, pages 83 to 87 from February. If there are any questions, happy to throw those to the CAO. And the review of action items, pages 88 to 94. Just maybe a bit of an update on the boat launch. There is somebody from Parks Canada meeting with the fire department on Thursday. So I'll keep you posted. Yeah, I mean, that's progress, right? So, yep, yep. Yep, that's right, so, yep. It's coming down on Thursday. Okay, there were no items added to the agenda, so we'll now open the floor up for 15-minute question period. We'll take questions from the gallery or by phone, 902-226-9885. So for folks who are watching at home, that's the number. We sort of sit here and make small talk because there is a slight delay in terms of when we hear your phone ringing. So, and reminder that this question period is not restricted to items on the agenda. Oh, go ahead. So can you press the button and when, oh, the light is red. That seems too soon, but.
Clayton's on it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you can read your, just say your name for the record.
My name is Linus Murray.
Hi, Linus.
Hi.
Go ahead. What's your question?
I'm more so asking for like recognition. This directly affects Councillor Marchand, but I've been helped by a resident of Councillor and Deputy Warden Marquette. So tomorrow at 10 o'clock to 11:30, a couple students, including myself, have been organizing a student walkout against, in protest against the Nova Scotia budget cuts. And I have a little bit that I wrote to a couple people that if you care, I could share it. And I also have a list of other schools who are doing the same. There's 13, including both Acadia University and NSCAD. And I have one other thing.
Okay, so do you have a question for us?
I'm wondering if Councillor Marchand specifically, because it's in his district.
Just because the school is in his district?
Yes, his
Okay,
district
gotcha.
would like to maybe support it, or if the municipality could make a public recognition that it's happening.
Okay, so your question is that in light of the fact that there is a student walkout planned, it's tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, yes.
Yep. So you want to know if we would recognize that?
Yes.
So my question is, can you in response to that, or for clarification, I would ask, can you specifically articulate which cuts you are concerned about?
Yeah, so we put together a couple of the important cuts, more so because not a lot of coverage on it, but it affects us directly. I can bring that up if you want. So the first one that we noticed not a lot of coverage on was the youth outreach program that is getting a $1,470,000 cut. It affects youth ages 12 to 19. It helps prevent against sexual violence, exploitation, and trafficking. Helps it helps get access to basic needs, stable housing, and concrete supports in time of need. positive connection, positive connection and engagement with community and cultural supports, services, and activities, plus other things. I won't go into much more. We have the, where is it? The provincial sport organizations, Sport Nova Scotia provincial sport organizations. These are the governing bodies of specific sports within their province, recognized by national sports organizations to manage, develop, and support their sport. Some organizations that will be affected by this is SSNS, School Sports Nova Scotia, Athletics Nova Scotia, Hockey Nova Scotia, Volleyball Nova Scotia, Baseball Nova Scotia, Cheer Nova Scotia Association, Basketball Nova Scotia, Special Olympics Nova Scotia, and Atlantic Colleges Athletic Association. And one I think you're going to feel a little strong about, Lois, because you are a hearing aid user. The hearing aid assistance, the assistant aid program is getting a $164,000 cut. This is something that is at Dalhousie. It helps provide hearing aid services to adults who receive income assistance benefits.
Right, I'm not sure if that was one that was reinstated, but, okay, so you've given us some, and I certainly know, for example, the youth outreach, we have had staff that have come into Richmond Academy, can't speak to the other schools, but there have been paid staff that have come in. For example, those folks would, actually one of the few groups who can actually take a student in their car to a medical appointment. That's actually something that's prohibited by most school staff. So that's an example. School Sport Nova Scotia, that will have an impact on how sporting events occur. So they're the group that allow for schools to have the insurance and all of that thing. So your question to us is, are we prepared to indicate somehow our support for that?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
The Hawk has already announced it. The Facebook page, they put out a post. So you guys could even share that on your page. Not looking for a lot, just a little bit of recognition.
Okay, so I am happy to recognize the effort that goes into planning that. Had a couple of walkouts, but I am reluctant to, as a municipality, endorse a student walkout, and I'll be clear about that. That it is a difficult thing for schools to supervise. It is a difficult thing, and I don't want to open up the municipality without consultation with legal about how we endorse a group of people who are supposed to be supervised because they are underage, walking out of a property where they are supervised and going to an unsupervised place. So it is not within my purview, and it is not something I would advise that we open ourselves up as a municipality to endorse that, because we'd essentially be saying all these kids, students who are underage, under the age of 18, who need to be supervised, we endorse them going off.
Okay, I understand.
Into the woods. Because I have been there and I know what happens at the walkouts, right?
Yeah.
So it's not something that from a legal point of view that we can endorse. What I will say is that I personally would commend all students who are getting involved by understanding what services are available that may very well be cut. And there are lots of ways through your leadership group and through student advisors through your leadership group. So would encourage all students to get involved with the cuts and becoming aware. And the best thing I can say is that for every single one of you who walks out, when you turn 18, you better vote. So that is what I would say, is that people age 18 to 25 have the lowest voter turnout in the province. So if you really want to make an impact, walking out is a minor way compared to exercising your right to vote when you turn 18. So that's my answer. Happy to, if anybody else wants to throw anything else out. Okay. Did you say you had a second thing?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Seems to me, I
Yeah.
just want to commend you guys for, as the warden stated, commend you guys for at least recognizing what's in the budget and how it affects you guys. I'm very surprised. Usually younger people don't care. Most people probably didn't care. So, you know, kudos to you guys for picking up on that and realizing exactly the effect it was going to have and the dollar amount too.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Warden. Yeah, I would echo Councillor Marchand's comments. And I would also say that I'm really pleased that you're able to, clearly answer the questions around what specific cuts. And I hope that your team that's organizing what you're doing is communicating that to the student population in general so that people really understand what it's about. I think that's awesome work. The other thing I would suggest you always can do as a free citizen is you can tag politicians like us in your posts about things, and it may not be something that gets shared for legal reasons or whatever, but I would encourage you to tag your elected officials, municipal, provincial, federal, in what you're doing, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is, because it really kind of helps to make sure that your message is reaching the ears that you want it to. So, thank you for your
Did you
work.
have a second thing? Did you say there was two, or?
I could give a list of the other 13 schools. I think a couple of other high schools have.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I've seen on social media.
Yes, yeah. So I could give a list, but it's okay. It's not.
Yeah,
Great, thank you.
All right.
Okay.
it's a big
Yeah. Do
undertaking.
you want to email it to me and I'll pass that around? Do you have them right off the top of your head? Do you know them?
I have a list of them.
Go ahead, read them off.
Okay. So, along with RA, Sarek's the reason that Sarek reached out to me, and I said, is there account? Is there a walkout for RA? And they said, no, not yet. So I started organizing it. I'll say her name,
Yeah,
Emma Lee Campbell,
Yeah.
of your district. Me and her were working together to put together. There's also other seniors.
You and Sarek and...
Sarek, they're Dartmouth High School, École Secondaire Mosaic, Halifax West High School, J.L. Isley High School, Lockview High School, Millwood High School, Cole Harbor High School, I don't know how to say this word, Copaquid Educational Center, West Bedford High School, École Secondaire du Summit, Sackville High School, Liverpool Regional High School, and there's a couple more that emerged today and yesterday, but this is a list of March 9th, so there's more, but I don't have them off.
Well, just say, be safe. And, be safe. And I would encourage the folks who are hearing what you have to say to take it seriously and to make sure that they understand what they're walking out for, and for you to have a safe day. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Linus. Appreciate your taking the time. And seeing no further items on the agenda, this meeting is adjourned.
Okay, thank you.